Hi all! So today we'll be talking about the history of the company NERDZ LAB, how everything started, how we managed to grow, what was our bottlenecks, problems that we have, and our success stories. So initially, as any other usual business, the companies are starting from two things: luck and hard work. Therefore, we decided to try our luck, quit our primary job that was bringing us money and resources, and go to the freelance. As a result, we were hoping that on the freelance we will be able to find a bigger project and start growing, showing our unique expertise. When we were younger with my brother, we already thought that we should create a company. That's why when we were deciding what technologies are we good in, or what technologies are good to start a company, we decided that it should be something simple, quick rolling, because the big projects will be pretty hard to get without a name. Nobody will give you a project to build a software for a rocket ship. It's too risky, too big, and too hard. Therefore, we decided that mobile development, that was pretty new at the time, is a good way to go. Usual mobile projects at a simple way could take from 2 months to 6 months, which is pretty quick development cycle. Therefore, when we quit working, we started researching projects specifically for iOS development on such a platform named Upwork. I think everybody knows that. This is one of the biggest freelance platforms. Firstly, it was hard. Nobody wants to give you their idea of the life if you don't have a name, if you don't have a proven track record of development that you had before. And because there is such a huge flow of freelancers, they simply spam customer with tons of messaging emails, and as a result, your message simply gets lost. We're trying different creative ideas, creative messages, ways to reach out to customer, but it was pretty hard. Finally, we were able to find one guy who was doing non-profit project to help the overall world become better. And we decided that we can create a win-win situation in which we will help him with pretty low payment rate, but instead he will give us feedback on Upwork and other rating platforms, so we can start getting another project. We spent there, I believe, around 3 to 4 months developing. In the end, we received our first rating. Can't tell that it changed much, because one rating is still not enough to be captured by a customer to represent your quality of services. Therefore, the next 3 to 4 months were nearly the same. We were struggling to find any new customer. We were doing, again, creative, so doing different approaches, trying to find the way to our success market. And finally, we got the first project. It was iOS project for one developer. The idea of the project was that it's an application for usability testers. Testers download this app, gets a usability test, some application or a website to go over and express his feelings, answer questions regarding user experience, etc. And after that, he gets a small payment. I think it was $10 or $7 at that time for this half-hour work. We did this app, and customer was satisfied, and he decided that we want to also build Android. That was the first time we hired another freelancers to start Android application building. We do not count that as the real start of a project, because technically it was not the employees, it was the freelancers who was helping us, but still it was like the first steps grow our Upwork account and get another lead. We got another opportunity. This was a lead from the USA. The idea of the app was also non-profit, with an intention to help blind people to navigate in markets and closed areas. So one person with an application that was a volunteer should scan the area, mark different objects, and another person, by using augmented reality, like the blind person, should simply walk in front of her with a phone camera, and phone will dictate that on the left side in 3 meters you will see this market, or you will see this station, etc. We were competing with another Indian company, and unfortunately our price was slightly bigger than the Indian company gave, and as a result, customer went with them. In 2 to 3 months, customer got back to us because we was like one of the shortlisted candidates and had a pretty good conversation going around before the project started. And he asked to validate what the Indian company did, sending us the source code. We opened it and actually it was empty. Therefore, we told that unfortunately, this is just the start of the project. There is nothing yet ready. Of course, customer was a little bit surprised, shocked, because he already paid a prepayment and only half of the budget left. Therefore, he asked what we can do. We were trying to find a solution. Still, each solution was, even with our discounts and willing to help, each solution was more expensive than the rest of the money that left. And therefore, the project stopped for a customer. What was our luck is that actually this customer was one of big UI UX agencies in the USA that was constantly searching for development agencies to outsource the work. And in around 1 month, he came to us with a big project for a fitness industry. They had a pretty rough deadline, but the project was huge enough. Therefore, we were forced to hire 2 developers, quality assurance, to support this project. And this was our first employee hire, and this is actually the official date when the company started. During that time, we were thinking like what to do with our sales, because technically right now we started coding and we can continue trying to sell on Upwork and trying to grow our account, or we can fully focus on coding. Maybe we decided that we should spend our time in the areas that we are proficient, and in the areas that we are not proficient, we should hire someone. Therefore, we also hired a sales representative and started our full journey of a company where we were constantly getting new leads, new opportunities, and trying to finalize this project and so on. Initially, when we were starting our company, the overall idea was that in companies we worked before, there is a huge bureaucracy. And this bureaucracy, it's like the old-fashioned way of doing the things that was just migrating from manager to manager and to new guys who were starting the company that also were managers and educated by a previous experience in their companies. And the bureaucracy I'm talking about is a standardized working schedule, requirement to always work in office spaces, requirements to track their time, and so on. So, and it's like when you have a company which should treat employees properly and trust them, otherwise, like, why do you need to have an employee that's not trusted? But the overall relationship between you and employee is kinda distinguished to employer that pays a salary, an employee, and nothing in between. Therefore, we decided that we'll try to change this paradigm and work in a different way. At that point, we saw such a thing as Scandinavian management model, and this was the model that was a little bit turning around the point that you are focusing in. Most companies were focusing on customers and satisfying them, while employees was just resources to get this satisfaction, while we thought that we will be focusing on employees, and as a result we will have pretty competitive salaries, easy channel to getting talents, and pretty low leave rate, because it's also a big problem for our customers. And because we have all of that, the customer flow should be pretty smooth, because everybody wants to work with the talents, and we should have an easy access to them with this approach. Therefore, we decided that we will have pretty flexible working schedule. We don't care if you worked 6 hours or 8 hours, if you finish your task, if you are faster than others, if you're doing the work appropriately. We don't care if you're working in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, until it's not a problem for your teammates. We don't care if you're working in office, in coffee shop, or a park. And because of that, actually, we were also pretty lucky, because initially, from the first day, we're giving our employees MacBooks, so they have a freedom to work anywhere they want. We were not giving them a stationary huge computers with these monitors, because it's not a freedom. You're still obligated to get to the office to work on your computer station. And why it was a luck? Because when COVID started, a lot of companies were forced to move to home. Employees were working from home, but the problem was with stationary computers that was in the office. And our case was pretty simple, because technically for us nothing changed. Employees just started visiting office much less and worked from home. Therefore, it was one of lucky things based on our previous decision. And it actually did the job, because our leave rate was pretty low. We never had a need of extensive recruitment until we started growing rapidly, because we don't have an employee flow in which like one employee leaves and we need to fuel with another one. That's how we came to conclusion that we'll try to go hand by hand with Scandinavian management model, trying to satisfy employees with their working environment, with their benefits, with everything the company proposes, instead of trying to minimize employees' value and satisfies fully customer. And it worked. What other challenges was in Scandinavian management model is that your usual company structure, which was primarily hierarchical, meaning that you as an employee cannot simply get to the boss. You need to get to your team leads, and team lead to his managers, and manager to secretaries, and secretary to boss, and it's like hierarchy. And everything is led to one person, and it becomes flat, meaning that you don't need to go through the hierarchy to get to someone or to get your idea to someone. You can directly visit him. That's why we never had a secretary and any sort of person in between us and employees. We were always in a free access at any time for anyone. We had been sitting in the same room space with developers doing work hand to hand, and anyone could discuss any theme. That helped us establish a healthy relationship between top management and ordinary employee. It has been 7 years for us from the time we started the company, constantly evolving and growing up. It was a pretty successful way that we decided to go with the Scandinavian model, and even through pandemic that we had, even through the economical disasters that we had and wars that we have currently in our country, we still growing. We are still on the same pace and trying to get new and new challenges and get new heights. It means that it's proven for us by our example that this way of doing the things, emphasizing employees, emphasizing the guys who is a key part of any project, works and gets you the desired results.